Hey, what's up, hockey fans? One for All Hockey here, and today, kind of a little bit of a fun video for you, taking a look at the New York Rangers 2019-2020 current, because there could be more moves, current roster, mainly just their top players, and the topic of the video is, will this roster, will the off-season, post-season acquisitions equate to the Rangers making the playoffs in the 2019-20 season? And there's a lot of factors to consider, so let's get into it. So the Rangers pick up Artemi Panarin. He's the huge UFA signing that everyone's talking about. He's 27 years of age, played 79 games last year with the Columbus Blue Jackets. He's a left winger. He got 28 goals, 59 assists for 87 points, 6 power play goals, 18 power play points, with a shooting percentage of 14.7%. Pretty good. Your number 2 guy, Mika Zibanejad, played 82 games, had 30 goals, 44 assists for 74 points, 11 power play goals, 23 power play points, 12.7 shooting percentage, 2 shorthanded goals. Chris Kreider, the list goes on, blah, blah, blah. You can look at the facts here. Here's an interesting case. The Rangers also pick up Kaapo Kakko. Now, Kakko played with the Finnish Liga last year. Well, that's the league he played in. And I used those stats to formulate his projected NHL stats. And I know the leagues are wildly different, and he could vastly outscore at the pace that he did in that league, or he could tremendously underscore at the pace that he did in that league. So to be fair, and this is all just playing the numbers, I just took at the rate he was scoring in that league and applied it to the NHL season. I think we could probably expect probably 8 more goals or assists either way, meaning I could see him having, an explosive season, having tons of goals, or I could see him having maybe in the mid-20s, something like that. But Kakko down here, projected 40 goals, 29 assists, 69 points. He's 18 years old. They're probably going to slot him in that second or third line. Maybe they put him on the top line. I don't know. But I read a couple articles saying they're probably going to try and slot him on those third line minutes, as a lot of teams do in a player's first year. Third line, maybe second line, something like that. But Kakko scored at a rate of, I think it was 0.48 goals per game in the Liga. Something a bit lower for assists. But he had 38 points in 45 games, 22 goals, and 16 assists, I believe it was. So going off those numbers, these are the point projections that I came up with, just to see what kind of point production, what sort of player we could potentially see being added to the New York Rangers lineup. Obviously, none of that is fact. In fact, it's probably horribly wrong, but it's fun to look at nonetheless. So Ryan Strome, 18 goals, 15 assists, 33 points, 4 power play goals, 7 power play points, 22.5% shooting percentage. Dude, shoot the puck. 22.5% shooting percentage. This isn't a guy who had 10 shots on goal and 4 of them went in. This is a guy who he put in 18 goals. Shoot the puck, man. Jacob Trouba is a new acquisition as well. He had 8 goals, 42 assists for 50 points with the Winnipeg Jets this past season. 3 power play goals, 18 power play points, with a shooting percentage sort of abysmal at 4.9%, but he's a D-man, so what can you expect? Going down, we got a couple guys, Mark Stahl, Kevin Shattenkirk, whatever. These are just those top guys, but I want to get into the goaltending discussion because we got a aged Henrik Lundqvist here. He's 37 years old. I don't know if he's on that latter half of 37 or if he just turned 37. And here's where that isn't too concerning for me. And this is another The Hockey Guy quote. I get a lot of my hockey stuff from The Hockey Guy. Go check out that channel. It's a great channel. But one thing he pointed out is that as players age, the only position in hockey that doesn't dramatically fall off in terms of production with age is goaltending. In fact, most goaltenders play their best hockey at age 35, roundabout. It's like 33 to 36, something like that. I think of players like Tim Thomas, who had that nice run with the Bruins when he was, 38 years old, something like that. But Henrik Lundqvist, he's 37 years of age. He played 33, I have these stats flipped. He played 52 games he had 18 wins, 23 losses, 0 overtime losses, a .907 save percentage, and a 3.07 goals against. Then we have Alexander Georgiev, who played 33 games. He had 14 goals. He won 14 of those, lost 14 of them, 4 overtime losses, a .914 save percentage, and a 2.91 goals against average with 2 shutouts. And for me, I don't know. I like what I see. And just to reiterate, I flipped the names of Lundqvist and Georgiev. I like what I see in Georgiev. I don't think he's an elite goaltender in the league, but I also don't think you're in goaltending problems. Lundqvist seems to be a diminishing star. He's not terrible. He certainly has that backup role. I think these are bona fide backup numbers. I think Lundqvist still has that ability to be clutch in a couple of games, steal a couple of games when he needs to, or be that relief effort. I think his days as a starter are probably over. I don't know. Maybe if they make a playoff push, he gets that fire in his eyes and plays really well. We've seen that with aging goaltenders before, like I said, like a Tim Thomas with the Boston Bruins a couple years ago. And by a couple, I mean probably a decade ago or more. But I don't know. What do you guys think? I'm kind of just opening this up for discussion. How good are the Rangers going to be next year? Do these off-season acquisitions make them a playoff team? Let's run through the Metropolitan Division just for fun. The Capitals finished first this year, followed by the Islanders, then the Penguins, then the Hurricanes, then the Blue Jackets, then the Flyers, then the Rangers, and then finally in last place was the Devils. I don't know. I think we have a Capitals team that's on paper much better than the Rangers. An Islanders team that's on paper is pretty comparable to the Rangers, actually, but they're far better coached. But who knows? We could see Panarin and Trouba and Kakko come in and really make a dynamic difference, and maybe we're not having this conversation. The Penguins, I don't see how you can't say they're a better team on paper than the Rangers. I think I like Matt Murray better than Georgiev and Lundqvist. I think I like Casey DeSmith a bit better than these guys as well. I know the Penguins are moving on from Jari, so I don't expect to see him in that third goaltender spot. Matt Murray's Mr. Inconsistency, but when he's on, he's really good. And when he's not on, DeSmith's a pretty solid backup. I think Pittsburgh wins goaltending. I think Washington wins goaltending. I think Washington wins offense. I think Washington wins defense. I think Pittsburgh wins offense. I think defense is a bit of a toss-up. If Chris Letang is healthy, if Schultz is healthy, if Johnson doesn't play horribly, I don't know. Maybe they're even. Maybe I give it to the Rangers. The Islanders are pretty even offensively. Pretty even. Maybe I like them a little bit better defensively. Much better in terms of goaltending than probably anyone in this division. Hurricanes, I think I like the Rangers a bit better offensively. A lot worse defensively. Maybe not a lot worse. Maybe marginally. Goaltending, not really sure. The Blue Jackets. The Blue Jackets are an interesting case because I think the Blue Jackets really fall back this year. They lost Artemi Panarin. They lost Sergei Bobrovsky. They lost Matt Duchene. Your team doesn't get better losing those 3 huge stars. Maybe we see a crazy trade happening. They already kind of sacrificed their future, at least in the short run a little bit, with those draft picks to acquire those guys at the trade deadline. I don't know. The Flyers, I don't know. I mean, they finished with 82 points. I think the Flyers have always had that goaltending issue. I know his name's slipping me right now, but they got that young guy. I think it's Connor Hart. I could be wrong. I could be completely mixing that up, but for the sake of time, I'm not going to look it up. But they got that nice young goaltender. I like Giroux. I like Voracek. I like that core. I think Nolan Patrick still hasn't hit his ceiling as a player. I don't know. I think Philly finishes relatively where they were. I could see them moving up to 5th place. I could see them staying in 6th. I could see them dropping to 7th or even 8th. And that's largely not because of Philly, but because of these other teams. I think if I had to place my money right now in the Metropolitan Division, I think the Blue Jackets fall to 8th. And then the Rangers, the Devils, and the Flyers kind of meander around for those 4th, 5th, and 6th spots. But who knows? We could see the Penguins miss. I mean, they traded away Phil Kessel. They're getting a Galchenyuk who seems motivated, and people seem to like coming to Pittsburgh. A lot of guys put up their career highs when they do come. I don't know. Where do you place the Rangers in the Metropolitan Division? Do you have them in or out of the playoffs? I think we could even see the Devils making a playoff push. They added PK Subban. Obviously, they drafted Jack Hughes first overall, and they also added Wayne Simmons. Your team doesn't get worse, certainly, with those 3 acquisitions. Now, goaltending still scares me with the Devils, given this Rangers roster versus the Devils roster. And again, it's still too early to tell. This is just a fun video. It's kind of just off conjecture a little bit. This is like your best educated guess. But the Rangers are really interesting because obviously they added that Artemi Panarin. They added the Jacob Trouba. They also lost a couple assets. They lost Hayes. They lost Pioink. I don't know. I think the Rangers probably finish behind the Capitals. They probably finish behind the Penguins. The Devils, I think I like the Devils. I don't know. If Taylor Hall stays healthy, Hischier still hasn't hit a ceiling, I think. PK Subban's an offensive dynamo on the defensive end of things. Coming in, Wayne Simmons should help with scoring. I don't know. I think the Rangers and the Devils are pretty comparable for offense right now. I'm not as familiar with the Devils. I'd have to check that out. But the Rangers last year went 32, 36, and 14, and the Devils went 31, 41, and 10. So these are both teams with a lot to prove and who made a lot of offseason moves. So where do you think the Rangers finish? I don't know. I like their offseason moves. I think they acquired a lot without having to give up a lot. I think they're a pretty solid team who could certainly make the playoffs or might miss by a little bit. Just for fun, if I had to give them a point total for this year or for this next season, I think I would probably I'd probably place the Rangers at a 96, 97-ish point team, which would be a very significant jump. I think fans would still be happy with that because they finished with 78 points this past season. I think if they can get some solid goaltending with this new offense coming in, the defensive end with Jacob Trouba coming in, I think we could see the Rangers get to that 90, probably 94 to 98 spot, actually. Probably 4th, 5th, or 6th in the division. They could certainly make a playoff push. I don't see them being first in the division. I don't see them being last. I see them being right in that middle spot. A bit too early to say that they could be contenders again. I definitely don't think. I am not on the contender train for the New York Rangers just yet. I think they're one asset short. I know they have Artemi Panarin and Zibanejad. Hopefully Kakko turns into their huge star, because when I think of stars in the league, I think of Austin Matthews. I don't think there's a player with more 5-on-5 points per game since he's entered the league than him, or at least goals. I think of Austin Matthews. I think of Connor McDavid. I think of Sidney Crosby. I think of Taylor Hall. I think of Nikita Kucherov. I think of Nathan McKinnon. Panarin doesn't necessarily come to mind. He's never cracked 90 points. He's certainly starting to get in that conversation. I don't know. Have the Rangers found their star in Panarin? Have they found him in Kakko? Do you like the Rangers offseason moves? What grade do you give them? I give them probably a B+ or A-. We'll see how they pan out. I don't know how you do much better than that. I just still don't see them finishing ahead of the Capitals, ahead of the Penguins, maybe not ahead of Carolina. Carolina re-upped on Aho this year, so maybe they make another deep run. Not just because of Aho, but because of a couple other things. I don't know. Where do you place them? Put it in the comments below where you place the Rangers, what you rate their offseason acquisitions at. Do you think they're a playoff team? Do you think they're a contender? Let me know what you think. Put it in the comments. And remember, this is a lighthearted video. It's kind of just for fun. It's that offseason mode. A lot of these UFA signings already happened. And I don't really want to make a lot of repetitive videos that other people have already made videos on. So this is just a kind of a fun video, a little bit of a discussion. Put it in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. if you liked the video, if you want to see more videos like this, and I'll see you guys next time.